How you doing? This is our presentation on excitement. The contents of this, we'll be going through the introduction and then our research questions, along with the method that we use, and we're going to operationalize excitement, going through different theories and definitions from other disciplines, along with expert interviews and definition of pride from a sports fan. Scale development, we'll be going through our scale samples and Likert scale that we use to measure excitement, and then towards the end we'll be going through discussion and the conclusion of this and our references as well. So the introduction, why excitement? Excitement is emotion that can be found a lot within sports and life, such as, when you're talking about sports, watching your favorite sport team either win or just during a game, it can create a lot of excitement, rooting for them and obviously hoping they do good and anything that goes along with that. Introduction, the definition of excitement, just overall a heightened emotional state of enthusiasm and anticipation in response to something stimulating or enjoyable, as I was just talking before. Watching one of your favorite sports teams or anything like that can just create a lot of excitement.
So the introduction to the scales that measure excitement. So how can I measure excitement in the sports consumer behavior context? So developing items to measure in the sports fans perspective. So you're developing things for your fans, and you're developing better needs for your fans to have a better excitement for their sports team, better enjoyment of participating as a fan while being at those sports events. So some research questions. How does the level of excitement experienced by sport consumers influence their likelihood to engage in brand loyalty behaviors such as merchandise purchases and game attendance? So we'll also develop a Likert type scale to measure the excitement as well. Method, so literature review, expert interview, and content analysis is our method for finding information on different views or different experiences on excitement as well.
Operationalizing excitement. Going through that, we'll have different theories for it and other definitions that go along with those theories. As we talked about the expert interviews as well as another definition of excitement. Operationalizing this, going through the theories and different ones that help us understand more about excitement, and everything else along that way. Here are the theories. We'll go through the arousal theory, appraisal theory of emotion, and flow theory, all which obviously have to do with excitement. The first theory here is the arousal theory, and this is just a graph that shows low, underload, inactive, or laid back, not really feeling too much, kind of as if like nothing's really happening within the sport or just in general. And then obviously high, which is best performance, best optimum performance, and in between the high and coming down into anxious, you can reach a stress zone, and then obviously after panic, anger, or violence, depending on what exactly is happening. But these are just it just shows how arousal really works. You can be laid back and then be very high on something, but also extremely low depending on what happens.
So operationalized excitement theory continued. So the appraisal theory of emotion from Arnold. So you got the stimulus goes to the appraisal of stimulus. Then it goes to the motivational response. Then it goes to psychological response, and then it goes to experience of emotion. So basically, something it goes from starting to how you feel when it comes to an emotion to then experiencing the emotion. So something triggers your experience of the emotion. Operationalized excitement theory continued again. So we got the flow theory. So as you can see, you got a little mini flow chart right here. So we got basically showing you got the more intense flow state, the higher you are. So the lower you are, you get bored. So like you don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too low, because if you're low, it's not really interesting. Fans aren't really going to spend their money because they're not interested. When it's higher, they'll most likely spend more money, even if they have anxiety a little bit. Like some fans like having little anxiety experiences, have good anxiety experiences. Some fans have bad anxiety experiences, but most of the time, as long as they're like not too having like too bad of anxiety, like anxiety attacks, they're good. And if they're not too bored, then they're good. So operationalize excitement definitions. Excitement is typically triggered by the anticipation of an outcome or an event that holds high personal significance or uncertainty. In the context of sports, excitement can be observed through a fan's heightened emotional arousal, such as your heart will beat faster or increased cheering from fans around you. That'll heighten your emotional arousal. So the arousal emotion model suggests that excitement is the result of elevated psychological responses, including elevated heart rates and adrenaline surges. So saying when your heart rate goes really fast, it can bring adrenaline, or being around fans can bring adrenaline to you as well. Excitement is also linked to the challenge and uncertainty in sports outcomes, often involving secondary emotional responses like anxiety or thrill, depending on the competitiveness of the game. So, like basically, like if your team's in the Super Bowl, you don't know what's going to happen. So, because of the challenge that your team is facing, you could have experience anxiety or a thrill, or like be really excited, have a real nice experience being excited for your team in that Super Bowl. Excitement in sports fans is often connected to emotional engagement and can be influenced by the team's success or failure. Fans experience heightened levels of adrenaline and enthusiasm when anticipating an important game. So, like a divisional game for football, or the NBA Conference Championship, or NBA Finals Championship. Basically, fans can have heightened levels of adrenaline and enthusiasm in those moments.
Definitions continued here. Keywords: feelings of excitement and expectation, along with high arousal and involvement. That goes with challenge and success, as well as wishing for a favorable result, because obviously when you're watching your team, you're hoping for the best result possible, which would be a win, of course, and for your favorite player or players to perform well, so you can continue to be excited about that in the weeks to come. Expert interview number 1 here, the overview of the dates, October 13th through October 22nd. 2 experts, strength and conditioning coach Herring and Professor Hager. The 2 questions we had here were: how do you think excitement in sports affects students' motivation and engagement in learning environments, as well as what strategies do you use to channel excitement or manage anxiety in your students, especially in high pressure situations? What comes up to your mind regarding excitement? Dr. Hager said it can have a positive effect on students. It depends on what level of achievement they need to maintain, but if they have a good challenge and they know they have to do well, it can be a motivator. And then Coach Herring said excitement and winning could boost morale and then lead to a higher engagement, but then the relationship will be minimal, in my opinion. For the expert interview again, keywords here: operationalize excitement, positive effect on motivation. Using challenge as a motivator is always great too, in the weight room, having things to go off of, either whether it's lifting a weight or holding a plank or anything like that longer than anyone else, is just a fun way to use challenge and be motivated to get better, which that can boost morale also, which is the next one. Then create higher engagement among the players too.
So operationalize excitement definition. With an emphasis on having a positive emotional impact, enthusiasm results from successes in difficult circumstances, which raises morale and engagement. The achievements and successes of one's favorite team or athlete provide fans with excitement, which frequently increases energy and creates a feeling of kingship with the team or sport. That's from the perspective of a sports fan. Scale development. So you got Likert type scale to measure pride. So scale development, scale samples, psychological method, business tactics, and method of communication are different scale samples. So here are some scale development scale examples. Basically a fan excitement scale for a sports event. So these are like different questions you can ask a fan. 5 meaning really likely, 1 meaning less likely. So my love for sport can be the reason for my excitement for the occasion. I think the team I support is the reason I'm so excited about the tournament. I think my enthusiasm for the tournament stems from players I look up to. Each of these questions are examples of what fans can fill out for us to figure out what we could do better, or who the fans like, what jerseys to sell, different things you could sell while these fans are at the game. These are all important questions for the fans.
Here's another Likert scale as well. First question, inspired by the occasion. Second, looking forward to the next game. Inspired to help my team out during the event. Thrilled to take in the event's atmosphere. I'm confident in my team's performance and encouraged to interact with other fans during the event. This scale is labeled 1 through 7, 1 being the least likely, and 7 being very likely. And then obviously as the numbers go up, it becomes more or less likely for that person to feel that way. Scale samples continued by Smith. I am happy and grateful of being a fan of my team when they win in a sporting event. Strongly agree, 1 through 7 again, except this time now 1 is strongly agree and 7 is strongly disagree. Continuing, once again, another Likert scale. Talking about this impending sporting event makes me feel even more enthusiastic. 1 being strongly disagree, 7 being strongly agree. Second question is, I have a sense of eagerness for this occasion. Third is, the thought of witnessing this happen in person excites me. And then finally, I can't wait to support my team at this event.
So discussion. It's fascinating to learn more about the idea of excitement and learning what makes people excited, because you have more of an understanding of it. What increases the level of excitement among sports fans? There's like different questions. A question you could ask: what more elements influence a fan's enthusiasm? How can we practically speaking, increase the enthusiasm of sports fans? With these questions, we can figure out more about the fans we are selling to.
And finally, the conclusion here: what part does enthusiasm play in intricate relationships, excitement, fan behaviors, team loyalty, and anticipation, and also in various settings? Finally, here are references, and that is our presentation. Thank you.